Behaviorists think people act in response to internally or externally generated physical stimuli. They basically consider human nature to be the product of one's environment. An example of behaviorism is when teachers reward their class or certain students with a party or special treat at the end of the week for good behavior throughout the week. The same concept is used when punishment. The teacher can take away certain privileges if the student misbehaves. Using the philosophy of behavior in education is such a great help in teaching. You are not just teaching the reality of life, but you are making their lives as great as what they have in the present times. Tomorrow's events are important, so take the best out of today.
Teachers, educators, or shall we say, moderators and advisors as well, carries the burden of touching a learner's life to boost their full potential and become the better version of themselves someday. In connection, philosophies regarding education are specifically designed in order for those educators to have a guide on how to mold and shape learners' life. In fact, if those philosophies are applied very well in classroom setting, then there could be a healthier relationship created between teachers and learners. To start with, the 7 philosophies of education includes the following. We have the essentialism, progressivism, behaviorism, existentialism, constructivism, perennialism, and last but definitely not the least, the humanism. Among the 7 philosophies of education, what catches my attention is the behaviorism. Why? It is because this learning philosophy focuses on the idea that all behaviors are learned through interaction with the environment. This learning theory states that inherited or innate factors have very little influence on all behaviors.
How a student behaves is a challenge to every educator around the globe. When he or she acts differently to what is expected, it's no longer a challenge but an opportunity for an educator to execute their duty when guiding someone's path to victory. Moreover, standing in front of the number of students is not an easy job. It requires compassion and sincerity in order to achieve the learning outcomes and expected results. The moment you start your very first statement, a simple good morning must come along with an influence within in order for the student to have desire to listen and learn. In other words, student-teacher behavior is interrelated to each other. What action portrayed is being perceived by the other. So, behaviorism as philosophy in education creates significant relationship not just in four-cornered classroom but also in outside setting. Whether the teacher is in the classroom or outside the school premises, he or she must reflect and empathize. Multiple behaviors are evident in the classroom, and it's a challenge for every educator to handle those. That is why empathizing and reflecting is very much required when teaching. When a student learns something from you, it is overwhelming and satisfying for you to know. Due to it, you are inspired to do so, like making classroom environment conducive for learning and inspire more students to learn and achieve their goals and dreams in life. Aside from being the second parent, teaching profession corresponds to the responsibility of a noble person by being a role model. Handling different behaviors more than 7 hours a day was commendable, but a good educator doesn't tolerate violence and unethical deeds. Also, a good teacher gives positive feedbacks to every achievement and goodness done by the students. In this case, you are giving positive image to your students that you are not just their teacher, but a second parent who also know what's best for them. Honestly speaking, when an action is being done positively, give fair acknowledgement. When an action is done negatively, take serious action and correct those mistakes without depriving the right and emotional state. Touching lives are important since that behavior acted by them is not just a factor that could make their lives miserable, because once it has been undergone correction, it will actually drive them to a successful future.
Dealing with direct opposition from students is never easy. Student aggression can trigger your own emotions, lead to a volatile classroom atmosphere, and can compromise the long-term safety and comfort of the learning environment. Before even considering the nature of specific punishment or disciplinary measures, analyze and prioritize the messages you want to send to your students about your intentions, expectations, and rationale with regard to the learning environment. Perhaps the single most important strategy for countering defiance in the classroom is to clearly establish your behavioral standards as well as the repercussions for misbehaving. Explain your class rules in terms of a contract that they will uphold their end and you will uphold yours. By doing this, let your students know exactly what you are to expect them, that they are in control of how they are treated, but that you are in control of the classroom. This way, when students that exhibit defiance or refuse to do work, you can take methodological measures that you have already disclosed, which allows the students to see that you are consistent, reasonable, and firm using the philosophy of behavior.
As a theory, behaviorism focuses on observable behaviors. It contends that there are no philosophical differences between publicly observable processes, such as actions, and privately observable processes, such as feelings and thinking. Although behaviorism does show us how we respond to things through association, it still has many flaws. Behaviorism is scientifically sound in its approach because of its emphasis on experimental investigation and observable behaviors. Again, this is Raylan Tuto. Have a good day, and may God bless us all.